I got rushed into the hospital and they said, she's not going to make it. We're going to send her to palliative care. You can get the kids and say your goodbyes. I remember just lying there saying, I can't believe I've drank myself to death.
This is Hard Knox Talks.
Sarahjane, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much for having me, Daniel.
A little bit about you. You know, you are a person in recovery. You are a domestic violence survivor, a Class B liver cirrhosis survivor, currently waiting for a transplant, living in Perth, Australia. Our mutual friend, Danny Shannon, shout out. Check out the Kick the Shit podcast on YouTube and probably all of the audio platforms. Is there anything that you want to say, or anyone you want to shout out or anything like that before we jump into it?
Definitely to Danny. I don't think he realizes how much he's played in my recovery, if I'm honest.
He's just a big, bald, ripped ray of sunshine.
He
Yeah,
really is.
yeah, yeah. So let's jump into it then. We have a lot of ground to cover, and quite frankly, when I saw the reel that Danny made of you, I was immediately intrigued. So I won't be much of a spoiler here, but I'll let you tell your story.
Well, I was born in Scotland. I was a gymnast. Uh, we went to the Commonwealth Games in 1986. That was an experience. It was fabulous. Had a good childhood. It was always family. And then my parents told us that they were emigrating to Australia, and we couldn't be more happier. We thought we were the blessed family, getting out of Scotland and going to this big fancy land that we only saw on the TV, and I was very excited.
Was it hard, even though it was exciting? Was it hard to move? Like, was it hard to say goodbye?
Absolutely. It was devastating to say
Mm,
goodbye to my grandparents, my friends. Um, my gym coach was like my other mother.
mm,
So I was really going to miss her. But my parents, they kind of always made everything okay. Um, Even coming over here in the airplane, they were like, they'll have the same gymnastics, they'll have this, they'll have that, they'll have things, and we even though it was hard to leave, they made it okay.
yeah. And was there the same
So
gymnastics and the same things? Like, was that true?
no,
No.
they did not do the same gymnastics at all.
Mm.
So I had to choose a different career, and that was
Oh.
hairdressing.
How was that
Mm.
realization for you? Did you harbor any resentments when you found out?
At the time, disappointed, very
Mm.
disappointed. Um, Felt a little bit betrayed by my parents. I felt like they didn't do their research enough.
Hmm.
I felt like maybe they moved here more for my brother than for me.
Did that have anything to do with why you started going off the rails?
Yeah, I think so, for sure. There wasn't, I was a teenager with nothing to do,
Mm. Hmm.
and feeling abandoned and having no one to talk to or that could really understand my accent. It was a very, the language barrier was very real.
When your parents
Mm.
started noticing, what did that conversation sound like?
They started noticing because of I was just erratic. I wasn't turning up when I said I would. The plans, I spoiled the family occasion. I didn't turn up, and then they just eventually said, "You have to leave. You have to move out. We're not having this behavior anymore."
Hmm.
I didn't steal from them anything, like that. I had money. I didn't go down that road so much,
Hmm.
but it was exciting.
Mm.
I thought it was like a circus when I walked into this rave and saw all these lights and everyone was so happy. No one was fighting.
Hmm.
Everyone was dancing. And I wanted to be amongst all of that. Within 3 months, I was in it.
There's a saying in certain fellowships, and it goes something like, "My worst day sober is still better than my best day drunk," and I would argue that Because I had some great times using, like in the beginning. Like, am I wrong?
In the beginning, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was exciting till it
Yeah.
wasn't. I just remember being extremely popular
Mm.
and loving it because
Mhm.
my boyfriend at the time was supplying all the raves, so we had this, copious amounts,
Mhm.
and uh, I yeah, I liked the popularity. I liked that.
Did you like the power?
Yeah, yeah, I would say yes, I did. Coming from being so alone and everything at school, and then all of a sudden being so popular and everyone needed a piece of you at one point. It
Mhm.
was, yeah, it was definitely a little bit of a power trip for sure.
So what brought it to an end?
I ended up living in a caravan with the boyfriend, and my parents found out someone had saw me at a shops, and they said, "Sarah looks really bad. You got to help her." And my parents came up to the caravan, and my dad booted the door in. He got the guy, packed up all my stuff, grabbed a TV that actually wasn't even mine,
He
but
stole the
that's
TV.
besides the point. Yeah, I don't know
What do you
how.
mean he got the guy? When you say he
Yeah,
got the guy, what does that mean?
or
Like
like
he
he punched him up a little bit. Yeah,
really? Wow.
I think he just hated the guy because he thinks the guy got me into all of the trouble. So
Was
mhm.
that like in your dad's character? Was he
No, no. Absolutely not.
huh?
My parents are like a little old British couple. Like, no.
Because I mean that's a brave thing to do, kicking in a drug dealer's door. Like that takes some salt, man.
Yeah, he I don't think my dad realized how big it was. I think he just thought I was a party girl that got out of control. He didn't
Mm.
realize we were moving the drugs too, or else I think he would have had a second thought about that. But
Mm-hmm.
I got out though. I got
Yeah.
out, and the boyfriend just let me go.
Oh, I don't
Mm.
want to mess around with that little old British dude. So, okay, so what did the conversation sound like then? Like, okay, he comes in and like, knight in shining armor.
He just booted the door in. He saw me, he grabbed me, he pushed me out the door. My mum was out the door. She grabbed me and pulled me into the car and tied me to the car with a seatbelt.
Oh, wow.
Oh
Right on, mom.
gosh,
Maybe
my
we should get
poor
them on the
my
podcast. Are they
poor
still?
parents.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, they're still here. Yes, yes.
Okay, so and then with the conversation, okay, now you're tied in the car and they're like driving away with you.
So
Like
now
what
I'm in the car.
are you mad? Are you
Yep.
relieved?
I'm
Mm.
mad, totally confused. I don't know what's going on. And then I end up at home, back at my mum and dad's in the room. So my mum came in the next day, the next morning. I had obviously crashed out. She comes in the next day and with some tea, because, well, tea fixes everything. And I took a sip of that, and she was like, "So you know what's going on here?" And I said, "Yeah, thanks. We just had an argument. That's all." Like, I thought she heard us arguing. I said, "I'll get my stuff and I'll get off." She goes, "You aren't going anywhere. Just staying here till you're clean, and then you will be getting exercise, and you're getting a job, and you're getting a life. That is
Mm.
what is happening, whether you like it or not." So I just went along with it. I do get my life together. I move on and I buy a salon. I'm drinking now around
Mm.
this sort of time,
Mhm.
because I haven't got a vice to deal with my mum or my life or anything. I haven't got anything anymore. So I
Mhm.
started drinking. That's just every now and again, nothing crazy, but I think that's sort of the point where I started. Um, and then so I'm around 25, and I'm drinking, normal, little bit much, little bit too much wine, and then I get stomach pains, And I go into the hospital, and it's my pancreas.
Hmm.
And she says, "You've got pancreatitis." I said, okay, what do we do?" She said, "Do you drink?" I said, "Yeah, not a lot." Um, okay. A month later, it happens. I have so many episodes of pancreatitis that they have to end up doing is it a pancreectomy? And it's your gallbladder, your bile duct, and a part of the head of the pancreas gets taken away. So they
Wow.
done that operation when I was about that age. I was about 28 by then. So from 21 onwards, we start drinking, drinking, drinking. I buy the salons. Then I meet someone
Hmm.
and we have children. So then now the story's starting to come to this sort of point where we're getting sicker and we've got children. All the hospital visits started around then.
Hmm.
And then that went on for about 10 years. So
Hmm.
now we're up around 30-ish, 30, 35-ish. When I met the kid's father, that relationship was one of the most torturous relationships I was lucky to get out of alive.
Like, what did the conversation with your parents sound like?
My parents, when I told them, I said to them that he slapped me the first time that he did it. And my dad said, "You got to leave right now."
Hmm.
And I said, "I can't because I love him." Um, and I don't think he meant it. I think I just caught him on a bad day. I
Hmm.
made every excuse under the sun. They just said, "This is going to stop and we'll get you out safely." And that's how that looked.
Was it easy to leave?
No,
Hmm.
no. In a way, it was very easy, but no, I was scared to death
Hmm.
because I thought he was going to then take the children
Hmm.
away and I would never find what country they were in. That was my fear. I just thought he was always going to take them.
Hmm.
My parents helped me get a house set up. They knew that he was beating me. And then the kids were at school all day. I was at work. And then I'd come home and just drink till all hours in the morning,
How old are the kids at this time?
3 and 5.
Hmm. Must have been hard.
Yes. Mum was there nearly every night. Um, just to help me with things because I think she could obviously see there was some sort of problem and I wasn't coping. So she thought maybe it was safer for her to be there.
Did you have shared parenting?
We had the most horrendous custody battle. It
I've been
lasted 4 years.
I've been
What
there.
happened is I met someone and he didn't really like that. So then he went for custody
Hmm.
of the children. And I lost my mind and went to the bathroom and grabbed my hairdressing cutthroat and sliced my wrists.
Hmm.
Because what's the point of being here if I don't have them? That's how I thought. I survived. Obviously, I was okay. I got through it. But we were in and out of court, in and out. And because he was the applicant, I had to always prove um, myself. And maybe I didn't look the best back then, obviously. And he was always freshly cut, shaven with all his big fancy words. And he looked better in court than I did. And they agreed with him and they granted him custody of the children. So I couldn't work out why I was supposed to be here. So I went to the bottle shop and bought f- 2 full liters of vodka and drank it in my car. And then got someone rang the police. I was in a car park. And then I lost my license.
Hmm.
So then I wasn't even allowed visitation at court. I had to get supervised visits. I think I was basically drunk for 2 years, and everything went wrong. Everything went wrong with my health. I started coughing up blood. I ripped my esophagus. Uh, it was I would just walk around the house and blood would just trickle out my mouth. And every time I went to the hospital, I just came out and changed drinks and thought that that would work. And then the last time, my stomach blew up like I was 20 months pregnant.
Mm.
And I got rushed into the hospital. And they said, she's full of ascites. We can't drain it quick enough. She's not going to make it. We're going to send her to palliative care. You can get the kids and say your goodbyes. I remember just lying there, crying, saying, I can't believe I've drank myself to death. I couldn't believe I had done that. My mum said to the nurses that she wouldn't want this, she'd want to be home. So we went home with the nurses, set up everything in the living room. I remember lying there in the living room and thinking about all the procedures for some reason, all the health procedures, all the drainages, all the pain. And then I sort of just looked up, and the kids, I have two beautiful kids, beautiful girls, Madison and Montana, and they were doing like a fashion show for me. I was in and out, but I could see them. Her earring got stuck on her shoulder, on her top bit. She bent down and I flicked it with my hand. And then Madison, her belt was, a buckle was missing, and I just pointed and said, look, and right there and then I knew they needed me, even if it was just for an earring. It wasn't to die. I'm not to die yet. I started moving my legs. And they took me back to the hospital. They said that her stats have raised. The medication has kicked in. It's working. And I stayed there for 4.5 months. So I haven't had a drink since the 10th of October, 2022.
All right.
Sorry, 2020.
Okay. Let's take a break and then we'll get back at it. Are you affected by a loved one's substance use? You are not alone. We can learn to be okay whether or not our loved ones are still using. Nar-Anon can help. Contact Ronnie Nordell at 306-731-7573 for meeting information. All right, EHN Canada is Canada's leading provider of mental health and addiction services, providing evidence-based, medically assisted care with 1-year wraparound services for those suffering from substance use disorder. In Saskatchewan, their care is 100% supported by Saskatchewan Health. To learn more, find their link in the show notes below. Wellness News, Choice for Healthy Living, is a local resource that works to connect people to health and wellness-related products, services, and expert advice from industry professionals, locally allowing us to connect and engage. Check out wellnessnews.ca or skwellnesshub.ca today to learn more. If you'd like to see our content uncensored, we are now offering channel memberships. There is a lot of things we can't show you without getting restricted, so if you want the full conversation or to check out our merch, or if you want to show us some love and buy us a coffee, all of those links are in the show notes below. So tell us a little bit more about that last stay in the hospital.
So in that 4 months, there was a lot of testing, lots and lots and lots. But the main thing that they offered the service there was grief counselling. And one of the nurses had said, you should see this lady. She's from the hospital. She does the grief counselling. And I said, oh, I'm sorry. I'm not here. I haven't lost a person. I'm recovering I'm an alcoholic. And she says, no, but you have lost your best friend. it just that made real big sense to me. And I thought, okay, let's do that. So the lady came every day
So you're
and
talking
we
about the
just talked.
alcohol.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
talked about it as if it was a person.
Yeah.
And it- because I felt like it kind of was. It was at every occasion, every child, like always there. And then all of a sudden it wasn't. And that's where the hard work was going to begin.
Mm.
Um, but she started me an hour a day for about 3 months. And I sort of got my head around living without alcohol. What does that look like? Too scary to think about. That 4 months that I had in the hospital with that lady set me up to live around it in bars and everything and not be so tempted. But that's very easy to say because when I got out of the hospital, I was still living with the ex partner, not the kid's dad, just
Mm.
partner. And he was still actively drinking. So my fridge and my house, everything had still, all the alcohol was still in there, except I had to be in recovery and I couldn't, it made everything twice as hard. But knowing that you can't relapse because the end result is death,
Mm.
it sort of takes away a bit of the I need a little bit because some people, if they just relapse or they drink, they lose their time. When you're going to lose life, you you don't want to drink, as if that makes sense.
Were you seeing your kids?
Yes, I had them back by then. I'd had them back for about 3 years before I got sick.
Oh,
They
okay.
came back to me when they were about 12 and 13.
Mm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. So they
Hmm.
so they were very present for this all.
Everything. They
Yeah.
saw, they saw everything.
Yeah. And what was that like coming out of the hospital? Were they skeptical? Were they scared, hurt? Like what was that like? Like was there, well, surely there was a lot of healing to do.
When I came out that hospital and started living the life and we got a new house, they never have ever gave up on me. They're my biggest supporters. They're always on the sidelines cheering me on.
Mm.
I'm very blessed to have them because too many kids could say, "Mm, she's too hard work,
Mm-hmm.
not mine." They were at every hospital appointment till today.
Mm.
We all go. We all go to the dentist. We all go to the hospital. They do everything with me.
How was the conversation around drinking with them? Like they're coming into the world themselves. Like, have you had these
Mm.
conversations?
Yeah. One of my daughters does not drink,
Mm-hmm.
and one, I think she drank at Christmas. She had a couple of champagnes.
Nothing wrong with that.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. They've had their own addictions. My little one was addicted,
Oh boy.
and she got through it. She's sober. She's one year sober. Clean. Yes. God bless her.
Mm-hmm.
So life looks very different now.
Tell us about it.
Nobody panics anymore when I'm around.
Mm.
I feel the calmness when no one's hiding or whispering in the corner or just let her be. There's none of the eyeballing. It's just, hey, how are you? You look well. Just normal conversations. Life looks pretty good right now.
So tell me a little bit about um, modality to wellness. Did you start going to meetings, seeing a counselor, or did you turn to God? Like what did all that look like?
I didn't know what to do um,
Mm,
in that department. I was really lost.
mm,
I'm not big, really, on talking about what you've done wrong and addressing it. And we're not, I mean, we do address it and then it's over. This is different. This was so different. This wasn't just something I could just get over. And I really didn't have my parents for the first time because they didn't understand. They was the one thing they they thought I should be. Oh, you should be just okay now. It's
mm,
over.
mhm.
And that was very as smart and as great as they are. That was probably very naive to think like that. But that's them.
Mm,
Um, I started to go to AA. I went to 3 meetings, uh, 3 different ones, so it wasn't just the same one.
mhm.
And I couldn't get into. I couldn't. It wasn't my thing. I just felt like everyone's sitting around telling their stories, and it's making me sad. Um, I don't want to do that, but there is a healthier way to do it, and I found that out now, but I didn't know
Mhm.
that at the time. Um, then, so I'm in year 2 of recovery. I've only done a little bit of grief counselling, um, being so preoccupied with the hospital. And then in year 2, I found TikTok of all things, and
Mhm.
I find Gary Wright, and I joined his sort of group of Hope Cartel, and then that led me on to Danny, and I've just joined everything he has.
I've had Gary on
um,
the show.
oh, have you really?
Yeah.
Oh, he's such my best friend. Is doing his 9D breath work with him in Melbourne. She's loving working with him. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
Um, yeah, then I found him and then I just started finding all YouTube and I sort of just as people were going through their stories of recovery, I was answering the questions that the journalist was answering as my therapy.
Mhm.
Probably not. It's just it's how I got through it. And then an opportunity came up to do a 30-day intense workshop of 40 hours in 30 days. And I done that, and that was amazing. That was amazing.
Can you tell us some of the key points from that like any realizations you had that really turned a corner for you?
The abuse from the DV had to go, and that was a safe space for me to do it. And I think that letting go of that big black box that was in my head freed up my time to really recover, really deep, go into myself, find out who I am. Then you know, then I've just experienced different things. I'm really into meditation. I love meditation.
Mm-hmm.
That taught me how to do that, which and breathing, and I can be more self-aware of what I'm feeling.
I believe in breath work. I definitely
Oh,
believe in the breath work. I did a 45-minute breath work session this morning. I've had some very profound realizations with the breath. It's something that I think
yeah.
more people need to talk about. It's wonderful. So I'm happy if you want to expand on that at all. Like if there's anything that you've sat with your breath and learned about yourself, like I would love to hear about it.
Yeah, it's something I would definitely like to explore more. Um, like I flew to Melbourne to do Gary's breathwork. That was an experience in itself. That was just brilliant. I would love to do something every day, but not that intense.
Mm-hmm.
if that makes, yeah, I just haven't
Yeah.
found anything yet, or I haven't asked the right questions, or
You know, I will give a shout out here. There's a YouTube channel that I've been engaged, well, not engaged with. I've been using for, I would say, almost 2 years now. It's called Breathe with Sandy. And he releases guided breathworks weekly, daily sometimes. But there's a few that I always go back
okay.
to. Like I don't always check out his new stuff, but there's lots on there. So anyone out there in inland, or if Sandy, for whatever reason, if you're watching my show, I just want to thank you for your work. It's been a very important tool in my life.
I'd definitely like to explore some, definitely.
Well, I'll put a link in the show notes. We can all explore it. But
Mm,
anyway, so you mentioned
hmm.
that you were the rooms didn't really speak to you much, but then that kind of changed, right? Didn't you get more involved with the program at a different time?
No, I just did a few. I just did about three or four, yeah, three sessions at
Yeah.
at different places, and then it really, yeah, I couldn't. Maybe I could, it was actually the other day I was thinking of revisiting it, just because I'm in a different frame of mind now.
Hmm.
I can listen to people and they don't annoy me now. You
You know,
know.
I think that might be worth talking about, because I know when I entered recovery, like if my kid would chew wrong and I would lose my mind. You know, like if he was chewing too loud, or if he was humming at the table, or even
Yeah.
to this day, like I still there's days where he'll be humming or tapping, or like drumming, just sitting there, and I'm just like just
Yeah.
trying to eat, and like I'm trying to have a thought and I can't, so I'm just like, what has parenting been like since entering into recovery?
It's absolutely beautiful. I am present.
Mm,
I hear them. I
mm-hmm,
can really hear what they are saying. Um, and you can call me now and I'll pick you up wherever you are. I'm reliable. Um, they're genuinely happy to see me when they, like, I live with one and one lives with her boyfriend. But
mm-hmm,
when she comes home, she just flattens me
mm-hmm,
with cuddles, and they are the. It's so. I'm so grateful. I'm just so blessed.
mm-hmm,
Like to give. I've been got a second chance,
mm-hmm.
and I'm not wasting a day. Uh, I'm not wasting a day. Yeah, I speak to them all the time. I probably annoy them by asking them too many times. How are you? Are you all right? Is everything okay? How's your head? Is your mental health all right? Mum, it's only breakfast, you know?
It's
Uh,
too early to know.
yeah. Yeah.
So,
I'm just so excited to have them, like,
yeah.
watch them grow up and make decisions that are good that I didn't make,
Hmm.
you know?
So, speaking of second chances, you're currently on the list to receive a transplant, a liver transplant.
I I
Yeah, let's talk.
am. This is a hard disease. This is a it's a hard disease.
Are you worried that when you get a new liver that you're going to be inclined to drink again?
Wow. My daughter did ask this
Mm,
um 2 years ago. Um and it's not the liver that's got the addiction. It's my brain. So you could probably give me a new liver. There's no way I would drink. There's no
mm.
way.
Yeah. Well, and the reason that I ask
So
is like, maybe like if you got a new liver, that's like a new lease on life, and then you can have a drink now and then and not worry about your liver shutting down. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like that's sort of like that's kind
yeah,
of what I'm wondering. Like, do you ever
yeah.
have that thought? So,
I
is
haven't
there?
really thought about that, to be honest. Yeah,
Oh,
it was
really?
like not in great deep, not in great depth.
Yeah.
No.
Once you take that barrier away, that okay, well,
Yeah.
my liver's not going to shut down now. I wonder, like and I'm not trying to plant a seed in your head that you should do that. I'm not saying that at all.
Oh,
But I mean,
no,
if it
no,
was me,
no.
I wonder, like, would I have that thought? Like, would I, like once I have a new liver, would it be more challenging because I know I'm not going to die if I drink?
I have not even thought about that. I just assumed I would get a liver and I just would still not drink.
Well, and you're free to do that. You're free to continue to not drink.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you like? Do you mentioned TikTok? You mentioned YouTube. Do you have a TikTok presence? Do you have a YouTube presence?
I don't have a YouTube presence. No,
Okay.
I have a TikTok. Yeah,
Okay.
I have a couple of accounts on TikTok. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
pretty good.
What are their names?
Um, uh, I have Sarahjane, SJ Winters, and that's all about recovery and some little funny things I do with the kids, some dance trends and things.
Mm-hmm.
But and then I have a business. I have a online business account as well. I make tumblers. I can't do hairdressing anymore. It's just not practical. You know, I take tablets sort of every 4 hours. I sleep every second time. I'm not very energetic. But when I do have energy, I'm good for the couple of hours and then I'm exhausted. You know, it's a bit up and down. So I have to sit and try and make some sort of living, but I can sit down and do that, you know,
Mm,
quite comfortably.
mm. Is there anything that you would like our listeners to know before we put a lid on this today?
You're not invincible. You get caught eventually,
Mm-hmm.
no matter which way.
Mm.
But recovery is the best life I could have ever known. And before TikTok, before Danny, I was quite happy just to sit on the couch and watch the telly and have the kids come over, and that would be my life. I did not know I would have friends or an online life or anything. I just thought you're just going to be in your house not drinking for the rest of your life.
Mm.
I didn't know there was a world of people like me.
Well, SJ, it's been an honor to walk with you through your experiences today. Thank you for the trust. Thank you for trusting me with your story, and thank you for having the courage to share it in such a beautiful and vulnerable way. And with that, I think we'll cap it. Take good care, my friend.
Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate you.
Say, this is Hard Knocks Talks.